It's hard to parse because you're seeing GM and Ford have these, strong earnings reports, huge moves in the stock. President Trump is taking victory laps over this on Truth Social, and yet this morning our colleague David Welch in Detroit had the scoop that GM is laying off hundreds of workers. So you have this situation where, as you say, the amount of sales these companies are pulling off with full-size SUVs, the Ford Expeditions, the Chevy Tahoes, those sorts of vehicles are really hot, and in some cases, as good as these companies have seen in something on the order of 2 decades, and yet also with that, real cost issues in terms of tariffs. I think maybe not the worst case scenario that they were concerned about months ago, but absolutely those were still headwinds. I think there is a concerted effort on the part of these two companies, however, to sort of really thank Trump for these sort of incremental bits of relief that he's taken off from of the measures that were put in place earlier this year.
Is that part of it done? Is that part of the story over, or are they still working to kind of continue to whittle away at some of the costs imposed by the president's policies?
I think it's still very much a live issue, and interestingly, some of the attempts to sort of curry favor with the White House seems to be around actually sort of applauding his move to put new tariffs in place on medium and heavy trucks. And the reason that they are appreciating that is because their rival, Stellantis, makes big Ram pickups down in Mexico. So it's a case of actually two players in Detroit kind of ganging up on the third and sort of praising Trump. And I think that was one of the interesting storylines out of last night's earnings, that Ford sees sort of some incremental opportunity to take advantage of the fact that one of their big competitors now faces much more of a tariff bill on those larger pickups that are made down in Mexico.
Craig, reading between the lines from the GM release and then the Ford results, it feels like these companies are stepping back on the margin from EVs and EV investments, and that seems to be one of the things that the street is applauding here. How do you read it?
Yeah, I think it's a little different across these two companies, where you have GM is much further along, I would say, in standing up battery capacity, standing up EV capacity as well. So they, I would say, on the other hand, have kind of on one hand have more EV potential and more battery potential to work with, and haven't quite sort of cut to the bone in terms of what they have to offer. And yet I would say it's also been the case that it's fair to look at sort of what they've managed in terms of how many EVs they're selling, and fair to say that it's been a real disappointment. We've not seen the ramp up in demand that was hoped for, even in the times when we were able to take advantage of $7,500 federal tax credits. As we know, that those days are now gone, and so you're seeing GM cut back. I think Ford's cutting back sort of predated some of these policy changes, and it's more to do with the fact that they've just been losing so much money on that side of the business, and have a little bit less to work with in terms of progress in scaling up the business and bringing down costs thanks to that scale.